Welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. We are loaded here on a Football Friday. Johnny Venerable joined as always, partner in crime, Mr. Bo Brock, holding down the fort yesterday. Frank Sanders, number 81, and the pride of Northwestern, Damien Anderson. Gentlemen, what do I owe this pleasure? We got everybody here on a Friday.
I mean, a little respect on the name of Speedo Jackson, holding it down for the PHNX Cardinals crew, taking home the trophy atop the podium yesterday at Octane Speedway. Look at that.
Check out that.
Gosh. Nice.
I don't see PHNX Suns or Coyotes or sports and
That's a group effort. So we're guilty by association.
On the podium. Come on.
That's Coyotes on the podium. Coyotes on the podium. Third place though.
We'll talk shit to PHNX Sun Devils. They clearly were last with Tiltree and company. And Frank, professional athlete at all, carried me all of 5'6" across the finish line. So thank you, Mr. Sanders.
You actually fit in the car with him, Johnny?
I probably could have. Probably could have gotten on Big Daddy's back and just been like this as we shifted around the track. But no, they gave me I measured up in height. They gave me my own car, thankfully.
It's great. Wow. It's like you look like you were hit by the turtle shell in Mario Kart. Like you and sit next to
he is the turtle shell. Okay.
I'm at least Toad. Remember Toad? I'm at least Toad.
Yeah, for sure.
Frank cheated. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I cheated. I know what I was doing. I just know what I'm doing. Like anytime you get to the first, let me do this here. I want to thank my pit crew, the bartender Jarrett. He oiled me up pretty good before I got on the track. That was pretty good. Well.
We started drinking before we raced, and I'm like,
I just want to say thank you to that.
About this.
Hey guys, isn't that illegal or no?
No, it's not. They give you a band. They give you a wristband, tell you to put on. The guy stripes it twice and once, and you can't have more than 3 drinks before you get on the track. Okay. More than 3. So I only had one.
There. You mean there. You can't. Yeah, there at that. Got
that location. Before you get there. Then you get how I got there.
Right.
I shouldn't have been racing.
No more than three drinks before PHNX Cardinals as well. Frank thankfully brought home some hardware for this podcast. The Cardinals unfortunately couldn't last year, but we look ahead, gentlemen, to 2022. The draft is now behind us. It's in our rearview mirror, and I was on Twitter. I was on the Twitter streets today, twitter.com, and I saw something that kind of caught my eye. When you think about all the investments the Arizona Cardinals have made up front on their offensive line, not in this draft, but in off seasons prior, the fact that OurLads.com, who do a phenomenal job in ranking analytics and units, position groups in the NFL, well, they rank the Cardinals pretty low for their offensive line play. And that's concerning. If we've got the graphic here, I'd love to see it. It is looking like this, gentlemen. So the more blue you have, the better off you are. Well, the Cardinals outside of guard, which I find funny, don't have a whole lot of blue. And they're 25th according to OurLads.com. Now, this isn't the end-all be-all. But when you look at this, Bo Brock, I'll start with you. What sticks out with the Arizona Cardinals front five?
It was a poor performance down the stretch, and I think a lot of people have a tough time washing that taste out of their mouth when they see this Arizona Cardinals group that has a ton of continuity coming back. I mean, DJ Humphrey's been in the fold since he was drafted in 2015, probably the most successful draft pick at the offensive line position for Steve Keim. You've got Justin Pugh finishing up his time here in the desert. He restructured. He's good to go. He should hold down the guard position. And, of course, got Kelvin Beachum, Rodney Hudson. Rodney Hudson is the man at the center position. You expect a better season from him. Kind of odd to see them just kind of, what is that, like a light pink? Is that a salmon? 53, not a lot of respect on the name of Rodney Hudson, a perennial Pro Bowler. I think that the pundits are having a tough time kind of washing the end of last season's taste out of their mouth. The performance against the Rams, it was putrid. It was inexcusable, but I expect a bounce back, at least at the beginning of the season, from this offensive line. I think that they have the pieces in place. I don't expect the Cowboys of a couple years ago where it's like a couple Pro Bowlers, but I think it's a very serviceable offensive line and has NFL caliber guys blocking for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, and I agree, Bo. Like I think you look at their offensive line and you don't think that they're number 1 or top 10, but when you have a guy like Kyler Murray, he helps mitigate all those errors on the offensive line, his elusiveness, his athletic ability, his speed, his ability to extend the play. I talked about it last show that I was on.
Oh, do we lose Damien's audio?
I hear him.
Okay, well, I'm good. I appreciate you, Bo. Well, his just ability to elude defenders and obviously extend the play and make things happen. I think when you have a guy like Kyler Murray, it's not necessarily your number one concern. I think what's concerning, Johnny, I believe I have in my notes somewhere early on, we talked about the first 2 seconds, receivers' ability to get open. Like out of the first 2 seconds, and the Cardinals ranked pretty, I'd say towards the bottom of that category. So can they protect enough or call up passes enough, Frank, to have that ability to protect and hold down the fort and give Kyler time to have those long, drawn-out plays where they're trying to throw the football downfield?
I agree. You're talking about receivers getting open. That definitely keeps the timing of the offense and the rhythm of the offensive line. Statistically, Kyler Murray played 14 games, got 31 sacks last year. Joe Burrow played 17, got 51 sacks last year. And I don't know where he fits in, or their offensive line fits in that actual graphic. But in reality, you look at it, I agree with you guys both. Kyler mitigates a lot of the problems of when a quarterback's getting sacked. Unfortunately, I was here in 1995 with Dave Craig. Dave Craig, our offensive line gave it the most sacks in NFL history. That's 76 a season. And Dave Craig looked like he got sacked 176 times after that season because his body was beat up. But I agree, our offensive line don't have to be special. They don't have to be great. But because our running game and our quarterback, what they do, what they add to the table, they kind of miss out on some of the sacks that would probably make them rank where they look like they're ranked. Because of our quarterbacks, he makes them look better than what they really are.
Are you guys concerned at all? This is a group right now on a lot of contract next year. They didn't take an offensive lineman high in the draft, right? There was all this speculation. Maybe they could take one at 23 or 55. They waited until they take a couple developmental guards. Is there concern right now that there aren't key building blocks for this unit? DJ Humphries, we'll see if he extended. Kelvin Beachum, the last year of his contract. Pugh's taken multiple pay cuts. Is that concerning to you, Bo?
I mean, yeah, but it's the game has changed. I think there's a little bit of a Moneyball approach to building an offensive line, which is strange because you would have thought, football traditionalists say, hey, you got to build with your lines. That's where you're going to the strength of your team should be, because we saw those Patriots, they were so solid for so long, but they also had the GOAT under center and Tom Brady. I mean, if you just kind of look at the rest of the league, I mean, you just don't have the ability to spend that much on your offensive line. As long as you have a quarterback and an offense that can make big plays and make big plays when they matter, I think that you should be in a good spot. Like it's just, you're willing to give up a couple sacks. It's just like the strikeout in baseball. Like you're willing for a guy to go, 2 for 4 with a couple strikeouts, but as long as he hits a 3-run homer, you're going to be sitting in a pretty good spot offensively. I just think that that's the way that this has gone. That's clearly how Steve Keim is approaching this. He hasn't been worried. He feels like he can find some veterans to plug and play. Am I concerned about it? Everybody should feel uneasy about it. Everybody, unless you've got, this big bunch of hog mollies that you can always rely upon. I don't think there's a group in the NFL that anybody's like really excited and say, hey, we're good at this position going forward. And I think the Arizona Cardinals are just like everybody else.
Real quick, I do want to make a point too that the missed absences last year, the missed games from Rodney Hudson and DJ Humphries in particular, I believe were mostly COVID related. Rodney Hudson did have a small injury that put him on the shelf briefly, but it's hard to go back. And I'll give DJ Humphries the benefit of the doubt. Really, since Bruce Arians left and they have this new regime takeover, he has been healthy. So I'm rolling the dice with this group this year that, tackle to tackle, they're going to be durable because, outside of really Josh Jones, Damien, they do not have a ton of depth behind there. Is that a concern to you?
I mean, to echo what Bo said, I think it's always a concern for everyone who's a Cardinals fan. I mean, if you look at the last 2 seasons, how they started versus how they ended, and that goes with coupled with the injuries, defenders' ability to get to Kyler. Obviously, he gets worn down towards the latter part of the year. I think it's always concerning, but you have to look at, as Bo said, the Moneyball approach and see what's best available, what fits this system. And I think schematically, the Arizona Cardinals having the air raid, moving Kyler around, sprint right, sprint left, and just having the ability to extend those extended handoffs to a guy like Rondell Moore or even Keontae Ingram, right? That's now part of the football team, but in Hollywood as well. But when you have players that can make plays and you can have those schematic drop those plays, you try and mitigate that risk. You try and get that defensive line to play on their toes. And I think Cliff does a great job of that. They've done a great job of balancing. And that's why we saw James Conner benefit from it, because just when you thought that they were going to pass, there'll be a draw, a run here, run there. And it's like, you keep them off balance. You don't know, defenders don't know what the Arizona Cardinals are going to do. That's what's been able to preserve Kyler for, I think, beginning parts of the year. But then I wouldn't say that they become one-dimensional. I don't have that data in front of me to be able to determine, but I think what happens is teams just start to wear down. And my initial point was they're just going to need a little bit of luck. I mean, we've seen it happen all throughout the NFL. Teams need a little bit of luck, when they win the turnover battle, right, and stay healthy, Frank. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. Winning the turnover battle and who stays healthy is going to go the latter part of the playoffs. And fingers crossed, right, that the Arizona Cardinals make it happen, Frank. But, it's an unknown, right? At this point, it's always an unknown.
Steve Kahn must have, whatever book that you talk about, Moneyball, he must have read the Cliff Notes version of it, because he has no desire to build an offensive line here statistically, from an organic position at all. Everything that he's done offensive line-wise outside of DJ Humphries has come from somebody else's team. Yeah. And it's really like somebody ripped out a couple of pages, DA, because we don't have the depth in our line, but we go out and bring guys in that we think can facilitate the conversation. That now that we have a quarterback that can run, we can move the pocket. He does initially what you said, mitigates a lot of the situations where he will get sacked. I do think, Bo, last year, and Johnny, we saw it, just the way that when we got ready to play the Detroit Lions, they figured out something about how to keep Kyler inside the pocket so he doesn't get outside the pocket. Yeah. And that was moving to a 9 and almost like a 10 technique, with their defensive end getting extra wide in that situation and forcing him to get in the middle. From that moment of the Lions game, everyone else followed that same scheme against us defensive wise, with no D-hop, so they couldn't play man-to-man. And so right now, our offensive line, I'm not really worried about them or concerned, because we have neutralizing factors in Zach Ertz as a tight end, so you can't bring another man in the box. You also have a running game with your boy JC, so that also keeps everybody kind of honest in some formats. And you cannot blitz Kyler, because he will take off out of the pocket with the 4.3 speed that he does have. So I can see that our offense line, where we ranked at JV, but in truth, I'm not really worried about it. I hope that we do have the luck of everybody staying healthy, but I'm not concerned statistically where we are, because we have those other extra pieces that kind of makes defense still got to pay attention to true offense.
Derek in the chat, alluding to something that we've talked about. Do you think DJ Humphries having COVID last year, losing some weight, affected his play? Yeah, absolutely. Does he need to be better? Absolutely, because it's pretty dismal in that Seattle game, of course, against the LA Rams. I mean, it starts with Rodney Hudson, because he is the most high-profile lineman the Cardinals have, right? He's a perennial Pro Bowler, All-Pro, somebody that a lot of the younger guys feed off of. Will Hernandez, Justin Pugh. I think when healthy and motivated, especially in the case of Will Hernandez working with his college coach and Sean Kugler, I think we're going to get the best version of him. I also think it relates to bringing in some competition. I think that's the one position, Bo, when you look at right guard, okay, like Justin Pugh for at least another year. I think he's the unquestioned left guard. Nobody's beaten out Kelvin Beachum and DJ Humphries, and then Rodney Hudson, should be around hopefully for a couple more years. It really just is Will Hernandez. Could they bring in a veteran, because we talk about it. He didn't get the Michael Bidwell treatment of on the website signing his contract. It's kind of under the radar. He's making not a ton of money. I think that's the one position, if they wanted to go and get not Max Garcia, because he's gone, but like a Max Garcia type where, I'm going to challenge for the right guard spot, but if not, I'm the sixth lineman.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think a lot of this comes down on Kyler Murray. Remember his rookie season, how many people talked about how many sacks he ran into, and then he was a lot better his sophomore season. And then last year, I would say that you can make the argument that he took a step back. If you look at Joe Burrow, he was sacked an unbelievable amount of times on his way to the Super Bowl, over 70 times, which is absurd that they were able to have that much success. 9 in the game against Tennessee, and they were able to overcome that because of his ability to make big throws down the field and to his playmakers like Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins there. But, as far as Kyler Murray, when you look at the sack yardage that he lost, it was like 100 yards less than Joe Burrow, and he was sacked like less than half.
Correct.
So, when Kyler was going down, he was going down for big chunk yardage. And I don't know if that's, Damien and Frank, help me out. Like, is it just him he's just maybe trying to make a play too much?
Yeah,
Maybe he's
absolutely, Bo. Yeah, absolutely, because he's always feels as though that his athleticism is going to be number one, and he feels like he could get out of most situations. So a guy like Joe Burrow, not the most athletic guy, but he's going to go down, Frank. You know what I mean? He sees the guy in his face. He's not trying to elude him, dip in, dip out, and trying to make something. He's going down, going to take this L for -3, -4, and get tackled, next second down and 13. Kyler's like, I'm about to shake this dude and one mixtape. Get out of here and make a play happen. He's turning right and left, and next thing you know, another guy comes, and next thing you know, it's 2nd and 34. But, you win, it's a double-edged sword. You win with Kyler, you lose with Kyler. But sometimes we know he's been able to elude, extend the play, throw the football downfield. It's a touchdown or take off and make a, -20 into a +19. Kyler's that type of a player, and that's what you deal with. That's what you live with. You live with the big L's, and you live with the big runs. And it's going to be Kyler, as you said, Bo, to mature year to year and knowing when to say when, right? Knowing when to go down and knowing when – it's the old country song, knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them. You know what I mean? He got to know when to fold sometimes.
He's got to have a little Kenny Rogers in him.
Yeah, that comes with maturity, man. That comes with maturity.
Kenny Rogers, let's just say this real quick. Kenny Rogers probably got one of the best beards y'all ever seen.
It's fuller than this crap.
What about Kenny Rogers Roasters?
Pure silver,
Kenny Rogers Roasters, where you get your chicken? Did you guys ever get that?
What was the over-under that we were going to talk about Kenny Rogers on the show?
I don't know. You might be able, gentlemen, to find out on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Speaking of the DraftKings Sportsbook app, the NBA playoff action is nonstop via the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets if they do. Looking to turn a small bet into a big payday during the NBA playoffs with DraftKings same-game parlays. You can do just that. Suns play tonight. Get ready, gentlemen. Create your own parlay by combining multiple bets like which team will win, total threes made, total rebounds, and more. And boom, you have your shot at an even bigger payout. Right now, all customers can place a same-game parlay with 3 or more legs and a free bet up to $25 back if one of the legs does not hit. It's a call to action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that promo code PHNX, bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game. Get $150 in free bets. If they do, that's promo code PHNX at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. 21 and over. Gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Arizona only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposits. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. My DraftKings pick of the week, gentlemen, is Chris Paul's over 20.5 points tonight, and hopefully a game 3 at Dallas, Bo.
1 point favorites right now. I'm looking at the sportsbook right now. That they blew the doors off the Mavericks last game.
Tasty.
Hey, hold on.
What's Book saying?
Devin's saying something right now. Hold on.
He's saying, I'm going to shoot that bitch. That's what he's saying, Frank. Frank, that's what he's saying. I'm going to shoot that bitch.
That's exactly what he's saying. I'm going to shoot that motherfucker.
Oh, my God.
We got a lot of action figure action on this show.
Yeah, you love it. You just love to see it.
Hey, in the chat, your boy Jalen Bear did bring up a great point, though, but because you're talking about Rodney Hudson, and he talked about, just real quick, just falling back on what we were talking about. He said that, was the Cardinals really targeting a center, because we were looking at Lyndon Ball in 23rd and also 55 as we move down the line. Do you think Rodney Hudson days a number?
No, I feel like they value interior line play more because of their division, and the better players on defensive lines, the Aaron Donalds, the Armsteads, outside of Bosa, he's fantastic. I feel like the Cardinals can get by with average tackle play because of Kyler's mobility to step up, to scramble. Where Kyler struggles is if when those three individuals in the interior, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, get pushed back into Kyler Murray. That's when shit goes down. He falls down. He gets injured. And that's where once upon a time in I believe week 17, 2 years ago, when they were fighting for their playoff lives, that's where he got hurt. When Mason Cole was starting at center, that's why they shipped his ass out of town. So I feel like, to me, like, you can have Kelvin Beachum and DJ Humphries playing solid play at tackle, but this team, I really do believe, needs to value guard and center play at the highest level. That's why they traded for Rodney, because Kyler just can't overcome interior pressure. Not a lot of quarterbacks can, but especially Kyler with his height.
But okay, Johnny, I understand that, but how much responsibility falls on Cliff in dialing up plays, Frank, for him to get outside of the pocket, for him? And I know as an offensive guy, Johnny, I'm going to throw this to the table, in situations where obviously when he's just dropping back, he has the whole field, right? He has three options. And when you're sprinting right or you're sprinting left, he's down to 2/3, right? He has the middle of the field and whatever that side is. But when you're out athleting everyone on defense with these draft picks, with these acquisitions, you have all this offensive talent. Why wouldn't you play to the strengths of your quarterback? And that's key components that we saw early on in a guy like Russell Wilson's career. They didn't just sit him back in the pocket and let him moonball it all the time. They saw him moving right, moving left, and getting the football to guys that were able to catch it in certain situations. And I don't know why they don't do more of that with Kyler.
I am surprised with the idea that we don't have a rollout package that looks like it's normal and it's really organic in this offense.
Because he
I don't see much of that.
I feel like that's the answer. They are afraid to play him under center.
I got you. Well, I'm not even on the center. You still can run the RPO.
Yeah, you can do it out of
you still do RPO and create a sprint right, sprint left style offense, or you can do that. I mean
just a package, Frank. Not even it's not even part. Yeah, it's not necessarily like an instrumental part of the offense. Just certain types of situations where that they look at all types of data, and maybe it's just looking at data. How many times is Kyler sacked? Right? Is it just on straight dropbacks? Is it sprint rights or sprint lefts? Like, what type of plays are we drawing up? And identify that weakness and try and move away from that. It's like playing to your team's strengths, not your weaknesses. Like that old school coach, calling from the sideline, same play again. Yeah, that shit ain't working in the NFL. Run the same play again.
Is that your Macho Man Randy Savage voice? That's my
old school. No, I can do that.
Remember the Titans? Is that it?
Well, Mean Gene. No, that's Hulk.
That's excellent, Damien. That is fantastic.
Me and my brother Frank, Bo, and Johnny B are gonna walk down there, break some shit up, and go crazy.
We're discovering hidden talents on this podcast.
And I thought that as far as the play calling went, Cliff truly did a disservice to Kyler in the last game for sure. Like he just kept dropping him back. Like there was no creativity.
And you can run on the Rams.
Yeah, there was no help at all in that game. It was like they just chalked it up as an L after that whirling dervish pick 6 that he threw, and it was all said and done. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, how do you combat that? Because they say to combat like a good pass rusher, somebody coming off the edge, is to run at him, right? How do you do it as far as the interior pressure when you're facing a guy like AD and he's just ruining your game plan up the middle? How do you slow that down? Is it running the football even more so, or how do you guys do it? Think you could do it?
I mean, to me, old school trap game. You know what I mean? Where they run a trap, thinking he's coming, and you got one of those big tackles just running free straight at. Where he's thinking he's getting a free line straight to the quarterback or the running back, and then he's getting trapped, and bam. And I know Aaron Donald lift weights, and we know he's strong, but a movable force versus rock solid, it's going to hurt. He's going to feel it. You run that a couple of times, and it's just being creative, finding ways to, run on the RPOs, inside run with a quick pass out to the perimeter to the receiver, and those sprint plays right and left that we talked about, keeping that attention away from guys like that. And I think that you made a great point, Johnny, with the exception of Bosa. Most of the threats that the Cardinals offense faces comes up the middle. So why wouldn't you draw up plays to defeat that, or even run a middle screen with the tight end? I think having McBride, having a guy like Zucker, you could take advantage of situations like that. And hopefully, much like we know that we talk about Kyler growing and his growth as a quarterback. I think we have to do the same thing with Cliff as a coach as well, right? Give him some credit of getting better, understanding situations, scenarios, game planning for teams, and 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and what do I do? Just those certain situations he's gotten better at, and hopefully he can identify those things and get better at play calling and situational awareness and put the guys in a better situation to be successful. I mean, it's a lot easier to say it on radio and in our podcast, right, and talk about all the things that they need to improve at. It's a different thing when you're sitting on that hot seat.
I will go back to one thing that me and JV had to deal with. And it was JV was hard on Cliff Kingsbury the entire year till he played the Rams. Cliff had not won against the Rams. He had been dismal versus them. And one of the things JV did talk about, was that he needed to see something special out of Cliff to do something in order to put himself in the upper echelons of the coaching, to show that he was, he had grown and he was doing something special. Well, I will say this here. After that game, the first time the Cardinals played the Rams, and how well they dominated those guys, Kyler came out and said this was the best game plan he's ever had since he'd been with the Arizona Cardinals, Bo. Not one more time the entire year did he ever say that versus any team that we was facing. If it was Green Bay on Thursday night and all those big time games we had, Sunday night football games, and when we played the Rams again on a Sunday night, nothing did he say of the sort was it. And so we're talking about game planning, not players, just the game plan. And sometimes when the game plan is so solid, it puts you in the best position. So it will minimize a lot of things that we're talking about, our offensive line and the numbers. It minimize some of those L's we had to take on him running back and doing those foolish plays, because you're always putting those guys in the best position. We learned so much from watching Peyton Manning and how well he controlled the offense by learning the term Omaha. And Omaha was something that switched every week versus the opponent he was playing. So when we talk about Kyler, I will say this here. If Aaron Donald's to the left, you run away from him. Or you find a way to run the RPO on him. And when you get to the line, if you have that savviness to be able to do that, your quarterback should have the ability to say, this is their best, we're attacking their best this way. This is their weakest, we're attack their weakest this way. Because any defensive lineman right now, we saw that with our own defensive line and Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt. So when you start making over $10 to $15 million, they will move you around. They'll move you around like you don't have a position. You become an edge rusher, the defensive tackle. You move around so much because the defensive coordinator is trying to create a mismatch. So that gives his player the best chance. Offensively, if we do that, then we'll give Kyler the best chance to be at his most successful place.
Oh no!
All right, time to go home. Okay, thank you for coming out, folks.
I like it. I think
Johnny's chilling. DA just clapping. It's time to go home.
I think it's Johnny waiting for me to tell you that it's time to take your shot. It's time for some screenshots presented by Arizona Department of Health Services. COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also eligible for a booster. Let's do the right thing. Keep everyone safe as we get together to watch some Suns playoff action. Visit azhealth.gov for a location near you. Got some great stuff coming up as well from our partner over at OGs. We'll get in that to just a bit, but I want to lean on our former players here as we continue PHNX Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals have the 11th most mileage that they're going to put down in 2022 as a team. This is according to Bill Spiros. He released this list. The Seahawks, who we saw at the bottom of the offensive line chart that we just talked about, are at the top of the most mileage. They are in for a bad season next year.
They're in for the first pick. Look, they're plus 500 to make the playoffs next year via the DraftKings Sportsbook app, by the way.
They're going to put in close to 30,000 miles. They're going to go through 34 time zones. I didn't even know we had that many damn time zones. Arizona Cardinals are 11th, just under 20,000 miles, including the trip down to Mexico City, which is not that far of a trip for the Arizona Cardinals. 20 time zones. Guys, in your experience, traveling, you're playing once a week. Is it take a toll on a team each and every year?
I tell you, when you're winning, no. And that's one thing about the season last year that you saw. There was no home field advantage. I think COVID threw that all out the window. I think the ability of having to travel with no fans in the stadium, teams are like, hey, we just got to go out there and play football, and if we play our best. And I think Agent 47 in the chat said when the Cards are healthy, they could play against anybody. Having the ability to go on the road to beat Cleveland, going to Dallas, beating Dallas, going to San Fran early in the year, destroying them. Cardinals are healthy, they could compete and go out there and win against anybody. And that's why I talked about, Bo. They need a little bit of luck. And I'm not worried about the mileage at all. I just think only thing that concerns me is health. And at the beginning of last year, I was like, two players, Kyler Murray and J.J. Watt. If those players stay healthy, they can go anywhere they want to. Little did I know DeAndre Hopkins was a big factor in that, and Kyler Murray. So to me, if D-Hop, comes back after his 6-game suspension, to your point, Bo and Johnny, if they could stay healthy those first 6 games, they could compete with anybody with or without D-Hop, and they need a little bit of luck. I think that's the only thing that's going to be a detriment for the Cards.
Man, if we stank up home field advantage like we did last year, shit, we could be on 60,000 miles for all I care. Because the way we played at home was so pathetic that I don't ever want to play at home again, which is sad. And that was our argument because Cliff just did not know how to get his guys to rally those guys, to get them focused and get those guys locked
But Frank,
in.
as a professional athlete, is that his job? Like, really?
Yeah,
we talk about coaches needing to get motivated. Like,
it's the back end of his check. It's the last 3 numbers in his check that requires him to get the guys motivated.
If I'm Michael Bidwell,
the first 4 is on him.
Prepared to play at home.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Johnny. Prepared and motivated are 2 different things. I think at the National Football League, I don't know how much more motivating you need to. Frank, how many seasons do we take L's for the Cardinals?
Big dog, motivation isn't the conversation. We're talking about controlling your crowd and making sure when you have the moment, you can dial up plays to keep your crowd involved in the game, making sure that the home field advantage never feels like it's not a home field advantage. We played Green Bay. Johnny was on the spot many times all last year, and he can look up in the stands and say, man, it was not the same.
But it ain't Cliff's job it ain't Cliff's job because people know they own Turo, they own Airbnb, they know them Green Bay Packers fans coming in town and they getting a prime for them tickets.
I can't tell people not to sell their tickets when the team plays like hot garbage.
We begged, didn't we, Johnny?
We did. We said, please to God, don't sell your tickets to Packers fans on Thursday night. They did anyway. We got a hell of a game. I mean, it's a fun game.
I mean, anytime Minnesota, Packers, anybody from I'd say anywhere from the Midwest or East Coast, and it's an opportunity to come to Arizona, they love it. It's their vacation.
You know what breeds, I don't know what word I'm looking for here. If they win,
yeah,
they will not sell their tickets. And so if I am somebody who has season tickets and I put my hard-earned money into those tickets and the team stinks it up at home and I give away my Christmas day to go watch the Deadbirds play the Colts and garbage-ass Carson Wentz, and they break my heart on Christmas,
Tell them, Johnny.
Don't sell your tickets. I don't care.
Johnny, I'm about to spit some economics, Johnny. If you pay $2,500, $3,000 for them season tickets, maybe even more, and you got 4 tickets and you could sell them for 1 game and get that money back, shit, you selling all them goddamn tickets.
I don't like the fair weather fans. In my opinion, there are not fair weather fans. I believe there are fans that want to be rewarded by this franchise, string together consecutive winning seasons, win a goddamn Super Bowl for once, and then fans will pack your stadium 90-10. Cardinals versus the team.
I'm selling my tickets. I'm at home with OGs. I don't know what y'all talking about.
We had Matthew Stafford's wife pleading with Rams fans not to sell their tickets. I mean, that's a team that wins all the time. It's won ever since Sean McVay got to town. So I don't know if that's a valid argument.
That's unique because they just moved cities.
Yeah,
give it some time, put some legs down, get the younger crowd. Like Cardinals have been here.
Fans in LA don't care about the Rams until they're on Monday night or Sunday night football. Let's be real, guys.
There were not a lot of Cardinal fans in LA for that game, by the way.
And then that's when they show up. Then all of a sudden, it's every star, every major player, every sitcom, TV movies. They want to be seen. It's a game that they play in LA.
I'm with Mr. Frank Sanders, though. I don't care about the home field advantage right now until I'm shown otherwise. I watched Colt McCoy without DeAndre Hopkins walk into Seattle Stadium with the 12th man. They beat the shit out of the Seahawks, and it did not matter that there was not one, I'm exaggerating, one red jersey in the stands. There's something with this team where I don't know if they feel the pressure of playing at home. I think they kind of walk into opposing stadiums and they feel like they can be a little looser. Maybe they've got the mercenary approach. They need to fix their shit at home. Here's what I will say, though. If I'm Michael Bidwell, you've blown an opportunity. It's a missed opportunity not to reinvigorate your crowd, your fan base this year by rolling out new uniforms, because I do think there are going to be fans that say after last year, I need to wait and see. I'm not going to come out and sell out the stadium. To me, you would have had to flip the home experience. And to begin with that, it would have had to be new uniforms. I'm shocked they didn't do it.
I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I don't know, Johnny. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it'd be great. I think having
I'm
home
cool with
uniform.
this.
I think it's a stretch.
Somebody
it's a
stop
stretch.
giving Frank props in the
Is that
studio.
I'm cool with
Kyler
this
Murray,
uniform on the
Lucha
cape.
Libre?
Yes, sir, with a cape on it.
Oh my God! Everybody says the home schedule.
I'll tell you what, that's a good. What Frank is doing, he doesn't know. He's making a good point. The Diamondbacks have changed their uniform how many times? And they haven't exactly had it. And it hasn't mattered. It hasn't gotten more butts in the seat.
Let's
it
not
hasn't
compare
been.
the
It
NFL.
hasn't. The
I
grass
love
isn't
baseball.
always
Let's not
greener
do
on the
that.
other side as far as
Johnny,
the
the
uniforms go.
Diamondbacks do have a World Series. I'm just going to go throw that out there.
I'm getting
do
shit
have
on
a
the
World
chat.
Series.
Derek says, Johnny, stop. I won't stop. Jerseys have nothing to do with attendance, but love them, but not related. I'm just saying, like, first of all, I'm anxious to see Hollywood Brown, how his jersey is going to sell. Number two, I've had many people, gentlemen, in my DMs and my mentions on Twitter say, I'm waiting for a new jersey before I buy a Hollywood Brown jersey. How about that? Somebody send that to my Goodwill.
Okay, I get that, but as far as getting tickets to the game, I don't think it has anything.
I
to do
just
with
think it would be a sweetener to say I'm going to go sport my new Hollywood Brown jersey at the game instead of watching the same Deadbirds, lose. How many home games they lose last year? Can anybody tell me off the top of my head? They had a losing record at home, right? For a playoff team that won 11 games.
They got one less home game than they got road game last year. So what? They go 3-5 at home?
Yeah. And I think they lost like their last 4 straight. So bring on Mexico City, bring on the travel, gentlemen. I absolutely love it. I also love some OGs, Bo.
Absolutely. Our new partner, OGs. We love talking about OGs brands. It's in the house. It was Frank's partner last night as he was celebrating some Cinco de Mayo. We've heard it helps people get some good rest, right? We've got OG's, Arizona's first original scratch-made cannabis kitchen. It's dedicated to creating innovative and memorable cannabis-infused products that flavor life's journey. The quality of their products, it sets them aside from the rest of the products out there. They stem from a combination of accurate dosing and amazing flavor. Edibles are not a one-size-fits-all thing. It's about OGs giving a product to be proud of, a wide range of products for all demographics and preferences. Their motto is flavoring life. Let's get tropical. Another one of their sayings. Tropical flavors include guava, strawberry, kiwi, raspberry, orange, pina colada, and their favorite orange creamsicle gummies that taste like a damn dream. You want to learn more about OGs? Go to ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ brands.com.
Let me ask everybody here as we conclude our Friday show. Does everybody love their mom here in this podcast? I'll get personal for a second. Everybody love their mama here?
Of course. Right on. For sure.
We got Mother's Day on Sunday. Got some significant others to show some love to. Some mothers. It's Frank's holding the DraftKings symbol. Frank in the studio all day is just bad news because by the time cards hits, you don't know what's going to happen.
He was playing golf on the Nintendo Switch for an hour before the show, by the way.
Yeah, baby.
For PHNX Sports Podcast, they used up my Mr. Frank Sanders. We got whatever's left over. But in all seriousness, here's what we're doing. I want everybody to go around the horn, pick the ideal Mother's Day gift. It can be for your significant other or it can be for your mother. What is your favorite go-to Mother's Day gift? Frank, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to put you on the spot, my man.
My favorite Mother's Day gift would be Mom liked when she didn't have to worry about cleaning anything in the house. So our goal was as 6 of us, and we just go through and sweep up, clean up, do everything, and that's all she wanted. She didn't want to have to worry about cleaning up the house behind 6 badass kids. So if the 6 went to work that day and looked like the 6 dwarfs and cleaned up everything, Mom was 100% ecstatic and happy with just a clean house and not having to pick up dirty laundry or the mess that we would make on a weekly basis.
Frank brings me back. For my mom, she was great at she wanted to rest her eyes. You know what I mean? She needed a minute, don't bother. So it's just peace. I think that just the little things in life, my mom's retired now. So I just try and remind her and give her little things just so she feels like some dope shoes, walking shoes, or a little, piece of jewelry here and there, just so she feels appreciated. Because I know she don't need nothing. It's more so just that I'm a grown man and I'm still thinking about her, and that she's, okay and still part of my life. And I just say for my, my better half, it's just for her, to Frank's point, her handling, taking care of home, being the domestic engineer that she is and being great at it, and holding down 2 pretty much grown kids, the ability just to manage that all and just to get her off her feet and have her a day where she feels appreciated, whether it's hiking, some shit that I don't want to do, but I will, because it's dad's,
I feel that.
you know what I mean? Responsibility, or take a family picture or some shit like that. But I'm like, hey, it's your day, babe. You know what I mean? Whatever you want, that coupled with a little Godiva chocolates or something like that, or a nice outfit, whatever it is, man. I talk to the kids, get some feedback. They talk about some too expensive shit, and I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna have it, guys.
Nah. I love her, but nah.
But get her something nice, man. Get her something nice.
You guys were tugging at the heartstrings for a while there until the end, and then lost it. I mean, beautiful. Some sentimental things that you guys did, very heartfelt. And I was like, I'm just gonna buy my mom's love. Usually, it'd be like some flowers, maybe a spa day, some jewelry.
Yeah.
But the family photo, you can't get wrong. You want to get maybe some no dry eyes in the room. You get that family photo set up, and I think you can't go wrong there. My wife is actually, this is going to be first Mother's Day. Excited about that. And of course, love my mom.
Tell her congratulations, man.
Don't mess this up. Don't you mess it up.
I'm very capable.
If you need some information.
Very capable. I'm taking from both what you guys said.
Just say yes. Just say yes, bro.
Don't listen to my advice. So I was big when I was a kid. I was a little shit. I used to put together those coupon books and never let my mother cash in on those. I would say, oh, I'll do this chore and I'll make the little homemade. I was big on the homemade gifts, because I never had any money to spend on my mom. God love her. And now it's kind of translated to my wife, where, just kind of just buy your own thing, give me the kids, go. We live in Maricopa, so you got to go into town, right, to get a decent meal, that kind of thing. So, but I feel like she does that outside of Mother's Day too, so that really doesn't make it special. So, I'm not a good gift giver. With anything I would buy her, I'm fearful that it would get returned, so I just save myself the embarrassment. But I can't. It's a double-edged sword too, because I can't.
That's a cop out, Johnny.
I can't give her the gift card either. I don't know.
No, you can't do gift cards, bro.
No, can't do the gift card.
But once she realized you're a horrible gift giver, she goes, well, give me a gift card.
No, she's like, where the cash at?
Here's the promo code for
when help our guy here.
How about that?
Can you Zelle me a cash at me 100, or can you Zelle out? I need 500 on my day.
That's what would be a good gift for is a membership, a year membership to GoPHNX.com. I think she'd be really into that. You should check that out, by the way, folks that have not. We've got content and coverage coming at you on both sides. If you want to get it for the full year, which I would highly recommend, it is half off, $59.88. You get a free t-shirt like this one from our PHNX merchandise locker. If my wife's watching, let's get you half off right now. Suit it up. PHNX merchandise locker, or you can dip your toe in, honey. If you want 50 cents for the first month, I can spot that for you. $8.99 for the subsequent months. You can find our phenomenal content from our many writers. We got a Suns championship run happening right now. We got post-draft coverage. We got a little bit of Anthony Totri countdown to kickoff for Arizona Sun Devil football. Tons of quality content you can only find at GoPHNX.com. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure here on this Football Friday. Let's pray to God. Next week, we get some actual football news, maybe a Kyler Murray contract extension, maybe a free agent signing. As of note, there is also, by the way, producer Leah just reminded me, maybe the best t-shirt we have ever done at GoPHNX.com. Ooh. Good hell, look at this PHNX Mercury podcast t-shirt with the GOAT herself. I can't wait to scoop that. Perfect Mother's Day gift, right? Be able to throw that to your mom, your significant other, rock it around the valley. We love seeing our gear around the valley. It's been a phenomenal start to our PHNX fandom family here. We love it. We want to remind everybody, be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star reviews wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us at PHNX Sports on YouTube. Follow us at PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter. For Damien Anderson, Bo Brock, Frank Sanders, I'm Johnny Venerable. We will be back on Monday. Have a great Mother's Day weekend. See you guys.